It would help if I turned my microphone on. Hello, welcome back to another Monday Night Live Chats with Aaron Matthew Kaiser. I am your host, Aaron Matthew Kaiser, back with the red hair. You know, I love it. I know you love it. All right, so I have a little bit of a different. I'm trying some new things as I always do. I've got this microphone here. It's not a USB microphone. It's actually an XLR microphone, and I've got feeding into my H4n and using that as a USB interface. So hopefully we're getting good audio. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, go ahead and feel free to leave some comments in the video or in the live chat. Let me know. We'll try and adjust as we go on. This show is an experiment as always, and we're trying new things. So, all right. So it's time to introduce my guest for this week. His name is Kevin Popovic, and I've worked with him for I was going to say a couple of years, but it's been probably 4 or 5 years since we started working together. It was actually around the time I did the 30 Days of Creativity, and right around the end of that, Kevin came on and brought me on for a few projects with his company. A little bit about Kevin. He is the founder of Idea House, an award-winning creative communications agency, the director of the Idea Lab, part of the Zon innovation platform at SCSU. And recently, if you guys love TED Talks, this is awesome because recently Kevin gave a TEDx Talk where he spoke about how creativity can change the world one bad drawing at a time. So everyone, please help me welcome Kevin.
How you doing, Aaron? Good to see you tonight.
It's good to see you as well,
my friend.
And why I just saw like a drop in my bit rate. That's weird.
I have that effect on some people.
Oh. All right. So when I was testing this, my voice sounded really weird. It was like it changed the pitch a little bit. So we'll have to see how this works.
Yeah.
I need to also make sure I'm actually using my. I know you're hearing this microphone, but I'm not sure if everyone else is. Let me switch that over there. There we go. All right, now everyone should be hearing from this microphone. I had to make an adjustment there. I hadn't set that up properly in OBS. I was lazy and didn't jump into this earlier. Some comments in the chat room. Nice hairstyle and color. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Kevin, apparently you're looking different from your profile picture.
Yeah, I'm changing it up a little bit. Keep them guessing, AK.
It's like we're both doing the mohawks. It's just I made mine red.
That thing going on there, I think a little bit. I think you're a little tighter than me, buddy.
Yeah, mine's not quite as long. It was really short, and so this is only about a month of growth.
Yeah, thing.
It'll we'll let it keep going, see how it progresses.
Man, it's hair. It always grows back.
Yeah, and kind of quickly. I just did this a week ago, and I already have to adjust. You can see the roots there.
Yeah, the challenges have been being an internet sensation.
Well, I try. I try and be an internet sensation. Hopefully, a good and influential one.
Right.
I was on my buddy Matt's live stream last night, just in the comments section, and I said hi, and he was like, "Hey, by the way, I don't like your hairstyle. It looks like someone left their period on the top of your head."
Oh, that's pleasant.
And I'm going to be seeing him in a couple of days, so I said I was going to rub my period hawk all over his face when I see him. And he just laughed. He goes, "That's what I'm going to call it from now on. That's your period hawk."
Ladies, feel free to chime in on that. So what are we going to talk about tonight, AK?
We are going to talk about creativity. How's that sound?
That sounds like a great thing to talk about. I love talking about creativity.
It's I think I've told you about the campaign I haven't officially launched it yet, even though I plan to. But I put the graphics up on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page for the Create campaign.
Right.
And as um, uh, as I actually launch it, I'll talk more about it. But so that's kind of going to be the focus of my channel moving forward, is just like creating and being creative. So and this live stream, I'm just bringing in a lot of different creatives, different vloggers, different filmmakers, stuff like that. And so yeah, that's what I kind of want to talk about. Let's talk first about your TEDx talk. How'd that come about? I have several friends who are like, I really want to give a TED talk eventually.
So that came about because I was teaching a class at San Diego State University in the School of Management titled Creativity and Innovation. And one of the things that I had seen in that class, teaching it semester after semester and a broad semester in Prague, was the hesitation that people had in sharing their basic sketches, just simple visual thinking. Kind of the things that we see when we go out to Starbucks to grab coffee. We start chatting about something, and inevitably somebody cracks out a pen and a napkin and starts mapping out a little thing, right? And even if the thing looks kind of like the thing, like you get it, and you explain it around, like, so here's the one part, and this we connect to here, and this is how it would go, right? So it assists in facilitating a communication between two people about an idea in a way that sometimes words can't. So when the opportunity came along to submit a concept for the TEDx presentation at San Diego State, I said, well, why don't I try to share some of what I've taught in the class and some of the lessons learned, in the hopes that I can encourage young people to understand they have the ability to do the world. Because I know a lot of times, many of us get very frustrated that we can't make change happen. And I wanted to prove to them that they have the ability to make change. They just have to learn how to go about doing it.
Okay. And so, well, to track back too, you've written. Obviously, you've been in communications and the creative field for a while. You've written a couple of books. Do you want to talk about those real quick?
Sure. I write books about things I'm really interested in. And the first
so your next book is going to be about me? How nice.
Yes. It's going to be a sci-fi graphic novel with 8 people. How about like that? I have a lot of passion, and a lot of times, like many of us, like you with this show, we need to find outlets for our passion and our interest and our curiosity. And so one night I'm at the bar with some of my friends, which a lot of these stories start. I was at the bar one night with my friends, and it was in Pittsburgh, and it was right around the time that my agency, Media House, was coming up on its 20th anniversary. So a couple of guys that I was drinking with at the bar had gotten started around the same time as me. So we kind of noticed that, even though we started in the same place, we really kind of ended up in very different places, and we had very different adventures for different reasons. And we've come to learn things along the way. We started talking about biggest challenges, biggest mistakes clients make and whatnot. We got into some very interesting conversations about it. And as I listened to different people give different answers to the same question, what I had come to learn is that nobody was wrong. There was just these different perspectives. So I got together 19 other people that had been in the business as long as me, 20 years, that had been a bit accomplished. And I invited them from different channels of communication. And channels, I mean, the different facets of communication. So branding, marketing, advertising, design, internet, social media, multimedia, public relations, events, and sales. 10 different channels. I invited different people and asked the same questions. And it was really interesting to see what we learned from these different people, from these different perspectives. So it started out as a 2.5-hour video documentary, and then I turned it into a book that facilitated the use of the videos for learning. And people were using the book for college courses, and the videos were shared publicly in order to share what we learned from everybody over all of these years. So that was my first book, and it's a great project. You're very familiar with it.
I'm having to mute my audio because apparently there's some echo. You can't hear it, and I can't hear it, but the audience can hear some echo. So when you're talking, I'm having to mute myself as well, and it's a little bit of a pain, but we'll make do. I tried making the show better, and I think I threw in a wrinkle.
Such is the life of experimentation.
And the crazy thing is, all I need, if I had a pair of headphones, so all the audio is going through here, it wouldn't be as big of an issue because this is just picking up the audio from my laptop, and that's what the problem is.
And you can't find one set of headphones in that whole joint.
I mean, I could plug these in. You know what? This actually might work.
I know a lot of different productions have different budgets, but we're going to have to get you a sponsor for some headphones, buddy.
There we go. Okay, so I didn't want to use these because it's got the microphone on here, but this microphone's not the one that's actually being used for the stream, so I think we'll be good now. This actually works. But yeah, it'd be nice if I had like a pair of big red headphones or something. So Apple, if you want to send me a pair of red Beats, I'd appreciate that.
I just got some wireless Beats, man, today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah, I've just got the AirPods, the little wireless AirPods. I've actually used those those are nice.
Yeah, the black on black, it's kind of badass. It'll go great with Harley.
So yeah, going on. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that project because I think the original company that you had, like, they shot everything in HD, but they delivered it to you in SD, and so we had to go back and re-edit everything.
Yeah.
And luckily, everything was just like, okay, let's reset the timeline, except for the titles because they had been rendered in After Effects, and so we had to hire someone to re-render those.
Yoy, what are you gonna do, buddy? What are you gonna do? So back to creativity.
Yes. So let's just kind of go into your creative process when you're starting to, either if it's something for yourself or if you're doing something for a client, and you have to start getting into that mode of actually like creating and like forming what the, whatever it is, because obviously it can be a graphic, it can be a book, it can be a website. How do you get into that space? Do you have difficulty doing it? Is it just something you slip right into? Is it something you slip into now because you learned how to get into that headspace?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's a little bit of everything, so there's a process, right? I think eventually everybody learns a process because it's a little bit of best practices. We assume one gets smarter as one repetitiously executes the same task or similar tasks. And then you figure out what works and what doesn't work. So, I got a bit of a process. And it changed. Some I have very formal. Aaron, we've worked on some projects where we had to do like website planning, right? Like websites can be a mess, right? A very messy problem.
And websites also, it's
very hard to define.
Yeah, and websites too can have that marriage of your creative aspect with your content, and there's a very dry aspect to it as well.
Yeah, well, I think every project is like a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. How are you going to start the story? Does the story make sense? And how are you going to wrap it up when you're finished, right? So you take a look at a lot of projects, like take a look at branding, right? We have a branding program called Properties. It was one that I developed years ago because we used to do a lot of, some of the first work our agency did was around branding, corporate identities, logos, packaging, things along that line. And it was creating perception of businesses, which is very important, as we see in the consumer space. Packaging, that brand, what consumers buy into, the look and feel, has a direct impact on the perception of the project, on the product or the service, and it directly impacts the sales. So it's really important stuff. So we got a process, and the reason that we have a process is to make sure that we don't forget the things that we learned were really important, and that we don't forget to do some things before other things, because we learned that it works out better that way. And by having this roadmap that takes us from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and knowing we have that process to rely on, then it gives me the security and the peace of mind to go bouncing around, do like really creative things and try different stuff, knowing that I know where I am and what comes next.
The thought there of you bouncing around and trying different creative things, are there any examples of like the craziest creative thing that you've tried that's worked out really well? And then also I'd like to hear something that maybe like after you're done, you're like, maybe we were a little off there. Maybe.
Yeah. So there was one that worked out really well, like so well it didn't happen. We had a Harley Davidson dealer in Pittsburgh, Spirit Harley Davidson. And it was a wonderful group of girls, Donna Sanford and her daughters, Honey and Spirit. Terry Sanford was there as well, and a bunch of other people. But we grew the business from this little Spirit Harley Davidson in Glenshaw, PA, to Spirit Harley Davidson, your biggest single source for all your Harley stuff, and the Pittsburgh Harley Davidson dealership, doing cross promotions with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and having 5,000 people show up for an open house on 1,500 bikes. It was just amazing. We had an amazing run with that. So at the peak, right, and this would have been in, let's call it 2004, and it's you have to keep in mind the context of the year. We came up with the idea of doing a reality show, and it was Spirit HD. Right, and in fact, there is I don't know if you can show a video from my channel at all, Aaron, during the show, but the trailer, if you go to the Idea House channel and look for the Spirit HD trailer, it's a little 60-second piece that we produced that demonstrated our concept for the first reality show based in the motorcycle community. This was circa 2004.
All right. If you give me a moment, I just have to set up a slide to be able to go. And then hopefully the software will let me create.
It's actually going to really be good, worth the wait. It's a pretty good piece. Idea House Reel. Oh, here I got the URL if you need it.
All right, yeah, send that over to me, and I've got the pages almost ready here.
And I will preface this that it was shot with a video 8 cam mounted to the handlebars of my 2002 Harley Davidson V-Rod. So I shot it while I was riding the motor.
All right. Just making final adjustments here. All right.
Sure.
So let me go grab that URL real quick. All right, and open a new tab. All right, let me click over to this. People aren't going to be able to see us, but they'll be able to see this. I don't know if they'll be able to hear it, though.
Turn it up real loud.
Oh, I've got the mute.
Yeah, that's not good.
Start over. All right, get this baby going again. Oh, I just did something wrong. All right, let's go in theater mode. There we go.
There you go. It's muted on the thing. Oh, I haven't seen it. Yeah, with the music, it's even better. It's an original music bit that one of our buddies from Indianapolis did. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties in this.
Nice. Oh, now it's trying to play one of the 20 questions videos. So, okay. So
Well,
that was a good idea that never took off, you said?
No, so we got the pilot done, right? Spirit HD TV. You got a little packaging, right? We threw it all up in there, and about 2 weeks before we're supposed to go live with the pilot, we get a call from legal in Milwaukee, and it's Judy. She was the one of the legal counsels for Harley Davidson, and I had met her doing some other work at the dealership. And she says, she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "What do I hear about a show on cable?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, it's going to come out in 2 weeks." She goes, "You can't do it." I said, "What do you mean I can't do it?" And she goes, "Listen, you know that dealers are restricted to advertising in their own trading zones, basically by zip codes." She goes, "I have enough trouble with people complaining about somebody putting a billboard in somebody else's trading zone, and you want to put a video show, a cable show in everybody's trading zone." She goes, "I can't have it." I'm like, "You're killing me." So we were a little ahead of our time, but this was one of the best ideas that didn't go.
What channel was it going to be on?
It's on some cable show that is some distributor out of Pittsburgh, right? But it was going to get zoomed out for a little bit, right? And then we were going to push it out in different markets. You know, you could have bought up some 30-minute late night spots and networks all over. But we had out their e-com, and when we got started with their e-com, they were doing maybe like 25 grand a year. Just kind of dumbing into it. And by the time we got the website up, we were doing 100K a year. And that was just on the online stuff. So that 100K came from outside of the trading zone, because inside the trading zone, people just got on their bike and came in, or they drove their car when they were going to shop big, when they were going to get too much stuff that they couldn't put on a bike.
It's too bad that you guys weren't able to get the Harley corporate to go, well, let's make this not just about the dealer, let's make it a bigger thing.
Yeah. And they never came out with anything good, so missed opportunity, maybe on the next round.
Yeah. So, you're saying that was the idea that was really good. It didn't happen, but it was a really good idea. What about a time that you're like, oh man, this is so creative, this is so good, and then it just like missed the mark?
Yeah, let's see, as far as like the idea, there's a couple that were just kerplunk, right? You just got crickets. Let me see which one just died, not did a damn thing. Well, so this one it's not as much, well, I guess it's part about the idea, but it's a lesson in being prepared. And so I was doing, so at the very beginning of my career, I was working at Shady Skates, which was a skate shop in the east side of Pittsburgh, right, on the shady side. And one day I was going to get a new pair of wheels when I was in college, right? And guy says, "Hey, what do you do next weekend? And do you want to help us move into this new space? And in return for helping us, we'll comp you your wheels." right? So in college, you think, oh, this is awesome. We get free wheels. All I have to do is help this guy schlep some stuff. So we go schlep some stuff. I get some free wheels, and he needs some more help, and he offers me some free stuff, and ended up working at the skate shop. Well, I had been DJing events, and I started putting together skate contests at Shady Skates. So I decided to have my big breakout moment, and I'm going to go into an event production doing East Coast promotional skate events for West Coast manufacturers. So I put together this big deal, and I got Wendy's as my sponsor. Wendy's is in for $5,000, they tell me.
Okay,
right?
Wendy's the fast food restaurant.
Wendy's the fast food restaurant, right? So this is like circa like 88,
okay,
80, something like that. And so with $5,000, I'm like, man, I got some budget. So I got some T-shirts printed up.
How quickly that budget can disappear.
Yeah, right. And then I got a couple parade permits to have the cops shut down a 5-lane University of Pittsburgh that we used to get chased out of all the time, and the bus lanes, and so we could skate all the way downtown. And then I rented the Mon Wharf, which was this place where we did a Saturday skate show, and then Sunday was out in Export, PA, at this guy John Ritter's giant ramp in his backyard. So it was a 3-day skate fest, big promotional event, $5,000 sponsor from Wendy's, and I was still going to make money on it. Okay. So I go up Friday to go pick up the check from Wendy's, right? And I walk in, I'm like, hey, Kevin Popovic, I'm here for the $5,000 check for my skate contest. And they're like, yeah, hold on a minute. So I'm waiting. They come back out, big yellow envelope. It's kind of filled with some stuff. I'm like, it looks kind of big for a check. I don't know, they like gave me cash or what. So I open it up and I'm like, what's this? He goes, oh, this is our sponsorship of your event. And I open it up and it's filled with sandwich coupons. And I'm like, sandwich coupons? I said, where's my check for $5,000? They're like, no. We're not giving you $5,000 in cash. We're giving you $5,000 in sandwich coupons, right? So I took a bath on this skate event, right? Because I was just some punk ass kid who went in and they said $5,000 and I thought $5,000 cash and I didn't have anything signed or detailed or anything. And I lost my ass on that skate contest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it a successful contest?
Well, there was a group of about 150 of us that skated from the University of Pittsburgh down Fifth Avenue through down through the north side and uptown, across the bridge into Clementi Park on the north side. So there are still people that are talking about that today, and that was a lot of years ago. No, seriously, like last week, somebody had brought it up, and now some guy wants to interview me about the skate scene in Pittsburgh from back in the day. Right? And then that Saturday thing, some pictures just showed of kids that were jumping some of the cars down at the wharf, which was just right on the river, and they had these kids just skying over the top of these things. Man, there had to be like 200 kids down at that thing. And then the contest Sunday was great out at Ritter's house too, man. They had a big giant ramp out in Export, PA. That was kind of infamous at the time. So yeah, it was great everybody had a great weekend, but I lost my shirt on that thing. But I did gain a lot of valuable education.
Yeah, it's always sad when something isn't communicated properly, and yeah, I don't know if I've had that. I do remember trying to just get people to give, like, restaurants to give food for like student films, and like, hey, we're doing a student film and we could really use some food to feed our crew, and luckily we had like a 501c3 attached to the project, so we're able to get them to do it as like a tax write-off. But
right.
Yeah, it was interesting. A couple of things. One time back when I had my video game radio show, that actually why I had like this radio, or this mic. This is microphone, not a radio.
Yeah.
We got this back for that show back in 2004, and we decided to do like a LAN party, and we had like 3 people show up, and we had gotten like Dave and Buster's to bring food for like 24. And so they ended up taking, the guy took like half of it with them and gave it to some like homeless shelter or something. But we at least we ate like kings that night. It was kind of embarrassing though, because we just didn't have anyone at our event.
Yeah, it's kind of a bite when you throw a party and nobody shows up. No.
Yeah, luckily I haven't had that happen for any of my birthday parties. All right, what are you sending me here now?
Well, I was stumbled across other videos. You were chatting about 20 years earlier, and there was the author intro that I thought may be of interest as well, as I shamelessly plug myself.
Hey, that's part of what this the stream is for. So let's go ahead and bring this up here.
Give you another shot at running some video here. That was the other crazy hair. You have any audio on that?
Are you not hearing the audio?
No. I don't think. That was the other crazy hair. You have any audio on that?
Yeah, the audience should have been able to hear that. I saw the audio meter spiking there, but I think just because of the way it's set up with Skype, because Skype is just getting my audio feed directly, and it's not picking up. And then I've got audio going through here. That's probably why you couldn't hear it. So, but yeah, everyone should have been able to hear that.
There you go.
If you're in the audience and you couldn't hear it, let us know, and we'll post the link in there. In fact, I'll go ahead and post that link just in case anyone wants to see that. Anyway, so yeah. Wow, how long ago did we do those videos? That was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. Time flies, Aaron.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. You would see my gray hair, except I dyed it red.
Yeah. Mine's holding in there still pretty good, buddy.
Yeah. Although there are a few gray hairs in my beard here that are coming in.
Yeah.
And you just shave it right off. So when you're, it's always kind of interesting because it's like, well, what do you like to do for fun? And usually the things I like to do, or the things I want to do for my career, writing and whatnot, are the things I also do for fun aside from like watching TV. But when you've just got to like decompress and unwind, what kind of do you find yourself doing something creative, or do you just find yourself out there surfing?
Well, yeah, actually, I got a sunset surfing before I jumped on with you tonight. Down in Del Mar, I came home and about 5:30, still nice out. The wind died down. There's these little 3-4 footers on the outsides, low tide, so good jump in the water. That's kind of a nice thing. Took my Harley out yesterday, went out, raced around a little bit, and that was kind of the impetus for getting the new headphones, because I had these other wired phones that were just cumbersome. But I like to play basketball, so I guess a lot of the things that I do to go wind down are non-creative things, because it's kind of hard to use your brain all the time. And I don't mean that in like some kind of like, it's not like an ego-driven comment. Outside of having a lot of education and having to learn a lot of things as somebody who has run a creative agency for 27 years, and I'm an educator, and I publish books, and I'm the director of the Idea Lab, and you know what I mean? Like, I know stuff, man. Like, I know a lot of stuff, and so when I work, I have to be very. It's a very thinky job. You know, your job is like my job, right? And to be on and thinking and original and challenging yourself and facilitating conversations and managing communications and trying to, you know, have an administrative layer where you're also managing hours or budget or time. You know, man, that's just a lot of stuff to think about. You know, and then people expect you to just like show up and be awesome every day. And you can. It just really is very mentally challenging. So it's nice to just do some dumb shit at the end of my day and just, you know, and just blow off some steam, right? I'm good for like a couple episodes of The Simpsons, you know, with a bowl of cereal. You know, I really don't have to think. You know, that's a little bit of a release. So, no, man, like, so I do a lot of the things that I do professionally, I enjoy, and I get a lot of professional as well as personal satisfaction in it. I mean, my job is fun. You know, I make stuff up, and I make things look cool, and I work with really interesting people, even though it's hard work and it's a lot of hours, which again, you know very well as much as I do, Aaron. So when you get a chance to like not be at work, you know, I almost think like one of the last things you want to do is to use your brain, you know?
Yeah. And it's, you know, I guess it's a little different if, you know, like if it's a day job that's not creative, like you're, you know, doing something more manual, and then you come home and, you know, you're trying to write a book or something, and that's where you get that expression out. That's one thing. But you're right. If your job is the creatives, you know, I know I'm at work. I'm on the computer all day. Last thing I want to do, I get home, is get on the computer more, and I sometimes have to just push myself because I have to. You know. Sorry, my bit rate dropped again for a second. I don't know why. Every once in a while, it'll just drop and then come back just fine. So.
Technology is great when it works.
Yeah, exactly. I also find like I love writing, but there's like I usually put so much into the things I write that by the time I'm done with the scene, I go, okay, I'm done. Time to walk away.
Yeah. It takes an awful lot out of you, you know, when you put that much in. And I think that if you're not in our business or in the business of being creative, and now there's a lot of different ways to be creative. So I think I'm limiting this to more of maybe writers, graphic artists, you know, editors. I think that you know how a view goes into some of that work that we do, and it can be very challenging. You know, I think it's different than a manual labor in the sense where it's much more physical and like that repetitive task. I almost think that at sometimes that the intellectual labor is more challenging.
Yeah, and it's a, you know, mentally taxing versus physically taxing are two completely different beasts.
Yeah, and I think people have different tolerances and capacities for those.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and it's partially your personality. You know, like I'll obviously, you know, be more prone to, you know, pushing myself creatively, but not physically. You know, whereas someone will push both, and some will push, you know, physically and not creatively. So I know that like as I'm getting older too, like I used to just push, like I got to get this done, and I'll stay up all night to get it done, and I'm finding that's just like it ruins my entire week if I do that now because I'm now pushing myself physically too far just to get the creative done.
Yeah.
So, although this last week I've been mentally so wired and amped up that I haven't been able to sleep, and so that's a completely different animal.
You're just so jazzed up for the show tonight, right?
Yeah, there's that, or like I've got, little notes. I generally am as digital as possible, but every once in a while I'm just like, I make little notes. And so I've got these pieces of paper all over the place just with writings, just because they're my scratch. It's like I'm just thinking through things, kind of like you're, one bad drawing at a time.
Sure.
For me, it's numbers. It's writing things down and trying to figure things out. And like the back of this page is, notes on how long it's going to take me to do a graphic novel if I started a campaign next week, end it mid-November. When could I have it in the hands of donors? And I was actually surprised to find out the answer was April 2018.
There you go.
So, but this was an important thing for me to figure out. Go, okay, and it's a possibility the artwork might even take longer, but just based on when, just dealing with the printer will be 2 or 3 months, unless if I want to pay extra to have it shipped instead of sent by boat. So, I was doing a lot of that, and then I'd switch from, well, okay, is this a project I want to do a Kickstarter on, or is something else? And if it's something else, then I have to start figuring out, well, what's my budget for that? And so literally it's like all these different things I'm trying to pull together, and yeah.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, so like last night, I think I went to bed at like 5:30. So I've had a couple of nights this last week where I'm getting up as the sun's, or getting to bed as the sun's waking up. So I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, talk to me a little bit about this Idea Lab at SDSU. What's that all about?
Right. So the Idea Lab is a new facility at San Diego State University, and it's an extension of the Zon Innovation Platform. So the Zon Innovation Platform was created by a generous donation of the Moxie Foundation and the Zon family. So if you will think that we have an innovation center called the Launchpad, and we have an entrepreneurship center, the Lab Entrepreneurship Center, which is a different family. The Idea Lab is about ideation. So we already had innovation and entrepreneurship, but the challenge was, where do the new ideas come from? And then how do you solve problems that come up during your development? And that's where the Idea Lab comes in. So we help people generate new ideas and solve problems using design thinking and other creative problem-solving tools.
So is this something for students, or is this something for like the general, like companies to come in and say, hey, I need help with something?
Well, we serve the entire San Diego State University community, people, teams, organizations, students, faculty, administrators, deans, and we work with everybody on campus and afar. We also do work with businesses that are off campus in a different configuration, really as outside consultants. So we've set it up as a creative agency, which I've got a lot of experience about. It's staffed by 8 students, very curious and talented and creative students that over the course design thinkers and consultants to the people in our community.
Okay, that sounds awesome. What's and would you say you're kind of like a mentor role for these students, or you're kind of like heading that up?
I'm the director, so that means I tell people what to do.
Always a fun job.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good to be the king. But I do. I'm the inaugural director, which meant that as my boss, Dr. Steve Welter, had joked on my first day, I got a room and a bucket, and that's what I got started with. And a generous amount to turn it into something. So the day I showed up at 4 in business building at San Diego State, this joint looked like a crime scene. And there's actually there's pictures on a Facebook page that shows what it looked like if anybody's interested in kind of seeing the transformation of taking this dingy little room and turning it into something that looks like an active creative lab. And the look and feel of the space is intentional because I'm dealing with primarily students, and I need students to come into a space and not act like students. I need them to act like creative people and kids and curious thinkers. So you walk into this place and it looks like Apple meets IKEA, and that's intentional. There's music playing. I've got a 100-inch video projection on the wall with anything from like SpongeBob to like trap music videos and like whatever else anybody wants to put on this thing. All the desks are electric stand-sit desks.
Okay.
And I've got a lovely view of the campus right outside the window, so you get a little bit of pulse of the community. And we play the music a little loud, and let the kids kind of pick out whatever they want. But I needed to not feel like a school space, so they feel like they can act differently in this environment. And then
how is that working? Do they adapt to that quickly, or do you kind of have to work, like, do a few of the students kind of like hold into like what they were doing before?
Well, it's some of them kind of jump into it quickly because they think it's like funny, or they're kind of being bad, which is kind of funny. But then they kind of get that it's purposeful, that there's something that goes on here. And there's a great little time-lapse video in that shows some things off. And we've got a number of videos that show off what we do as well. Let's see if I do that.
Let me go ahead and bring up this link that you just sent me here. All right, so we're looking at the Facebook page for the Zip Idea Lab.
Well, they get some pictures that they can see a little of the before and after, and just the kind of what goes on there.
Help if I closed my chat windows.
Yeah.
Everyone's seeing inside, behind the scenes of my world.
Yeah, right. You are it. Right. So there's a little time lapse we did, and you kind of scroll through it and see what's going on in there. But if you're interested in really kind of seeing how we took a room and turned it into a more creative space, we had a lot of people that said, "Oh, are you going to do like a bright wall?" You can go into photos and check out some of that stuff too, Aaron, if you can navigate that thing.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at a photo here just a second ago of a student wearing some weird glasses and
right. So that student right there, that's an engineering student that is prototyping a concept that he had in one of our workshops. So this is us taking people who traditionally have a very rigid process, and we try to interject creativity into it. And we've had great success. We just finished taking 350 senior engineering students through our workshops.
Okay. All right. Any other photos I should look out for here?
Now, you can check out the next video. I sent you a link to another video as well. Now, this one gives you an idea. It's a little bit of a montage of some different things that we do. And it's
like
also
a college daycare.
Yeah, something like that, right? It's a little bit of it's the dance remix of Intro to Design Thinking. So we put a little Max Headroom in it. There you go. There's Hannah.
Oh, with the gray shirt.
Yeah, right. And then so what you're looking at now is those are pictures from the School of Social Work graduate class, where we were teaching people interested in helping other people, giving them a process to generate ideas that are human-centric.
You gonna go tell these students that they're on the live stream?
Yeah, right. I'll make sure I push them out to them, and we'll make their lives complete.
All right, let me switch over. I just brought up this video you sent me, so let me switch over to that.
Yeah, so this is what we call edutainment.
Edutainment, you said?
Yeah, edutainment. silly little time lapse, get some supers, and we teach through it. This is a little behind the scenes of what we do in a workshop. And around it goes.
Yeah. I see the bad drawings there.
Yeah. A little bit of everything, buddy. So that's a long bit. People can watch that at their leisure. When you're
Okay.
binge watching some of the other things that you have to binge watch on.
Right. Let's go ahead and I'll drop that link in the chat for anyone that's still in there.
Yep.
By the way, if anyone is still in the chat or not, go ahead and feel free to ask us some questions. Otherwise, we're going to just keep chatting amongst ourselves.
Chat.
And asking our own questions. So, did you find it easy to slip into the role of a teacher?
Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact, because I had been teaching within the agency already. Had people that were coming on as on our staff, and some partners that I was mentoring. We had interns. I had clients that we were trying to get to be more creative. So I'd already been doing it, and the opportunity came up. So I was out at a party, having a beer, and I met up with somebody from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh who had said, hey, what do you do? What do you work on? Blah, blah, blah. You should come teach for us. So that was I had just taught the summer before down at Howard Community Business College. Was teaching website planning, and with my cousin Scott Brickner, who was teaching website development back in the day, like with Front Page and an old school HTML. So I got started.
Front Page.
Right?
That is a dirty word.
Yeah, come on, but that you know about when that was. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, and then so I started teaching at the Art Institute, and then I was at a party a year later, and they're like, "You teach at Art Institute?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What do you pay? What do they pay you an hour?" And I'm like, $35 an hour. And they go, "Man, you should come teach up at Duquesne. We pay you $75 an hour." I'm like, "Okay, I'll go up to Duquesne." So that's how I started teaching up there. And then I taught a bunch of different classes. And then I was teaching classes in the master's program. And then I'm like, man, I'm already teaching these classes. I should just knock my master's out. I was already teaching them. I'm like, might as well go get it. So that's when I went to go bang my master's out. And then, and when I started my doctoral studies, I was teaching as well. And then that was nice because you got 50% off your tuition. So that teaching's got a lot of advantages to it. The other thing that it had provided me was a different type of credibility as a creative professional, because business wants you when you're in academia because they think that you know things that they don't. And then academia wants you when you're business because they think you know how to make money. So I kind of straddled the fence on that for years, still do. But it's a very good branding opportunity for you. If you ever get it, I highly recommend it.
All right. I want to shift gears a little bit and ask where you think the creative world is going.
We're all gonna die. The end's near.
But because we've got this this digital revolution that obviously, like, I know that you've been integrating a lot of this stuff with your clients and your projects, and like a conversation I was just having today. So you think the Idea Lab is the future of communications and creativity?
Yeah. So the end is near in the sense that creative is a commodity any longer. The we see the commoditization of illustration and photography and video at things like iStock. We see the commoditization of coding and widgets and other tools at things like Theme Forest, right? And then you see the creative arts going to hell in a handbasket, through things like Elance and Fiverr and Craigslist, and I'll tell you, man, it's like everybody is a creative today, right? And in the 20 years project, right, which is now 7 years. There was, there were people commenting that, any jackass with like an iPhone and like a little SLR, digital SLR, was now was like a cameraman or a video producer. And it's the same thing, like, anybody's like when Dreamweaver is out, right? Any jackass who could like figure out how Dreamweaver work is now a web guru, right? And where I think it was good by getting more people into the business, I think it did stretch the boundaries of what a professional means. To that end, you just can't make the money that you used to make being a creative anymore. So you need to have some kind of real differentiator, or you are a commodity instead of a premium, and you have to determine what you want to be. So I made the shift years back and a conscious decision that I was always going to be a premium, because I've seen what commodity looks like and what commodity pays.
Yeah.
And that does not sustain my rock and roll lifestyle, which you are familiar with, my friend.
I feel like I was just having this conversation with someone today.
Yeah.
When we're like, well, how much do we charge for this? And I'm like, no, that's too low. No. Well, they won't take too high. I'm like, then we don't want them.
Yeah. So,
there was a few years ago, I got a chance to go to WordCamp LAX, and it's something put on by the WordPress folks, I believe, and it's like a 2-day seminar. They go to different cities, everywhere, and unfortunately, I haven't been involved in the LA one since, but I volunteered at this one, and the keynote speaker was a gentleman named Chris Lema. Lema. I think I follow him on Twitter. I want to make sure that I give proper credit to him because this was his speech, and it kind of rocked me, and something you said just reminded me of it. And he talked about how when he was a kid, he was looking forward to getting that giant. It was like Lego was putting out this giant Lego castle, and it was like you'd spend a couple hours just putting it together before you could play with it. And in fact, by the time you're done putting it together, you had to like leave to go to dinner or something. So the joy was in building it. And then the next year they came out with a new castle, but it was like this molded plastic and just a few pieces to put on. And you no longer had to know how to put together a castle to start playing with the castle. And so he had to say goodbye to know-how. And then he would tell the story, and he told it several times over, like throughout the years, including one of the times that he said that he was on the team that was on the forefront of adding closed captions to videos timed with the video for the internet. Like, it was groundbreaking. The first time it was ever done, it cost $100,000 to figure out how to do it. And now you have, the ability to do it with like YouTube with all you have to do is type it in and it's like done. It's there.
Right.
And so you no longer have to know how to create these systems that build captions. You just need to know why you're going to use them and why it's important. And so his entire thing was forgetting know-how, saying goodbye to know-how, and knowing why. You can know how to do something, but in 5 years, in fact, now in 1 year, the effort that it takes to do something will be instantaneous.
Yeah.
We see that with the WordPress plugins, and you don't have to build your own plugin. There's a plugin that you can just go buy and plug in, and so it won't cost $100,000 to make. But you have to know why you're going to use that, and why, maybe how you're going to implement it in strategy wise. But that goes back to the why. So that it just popped into my mind, and I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that it's something I really want to caution creatives, and really to make a conscious decision about where you want to be in the ecosystem of creativity, because you got to keep up. You have to be unique, and you have to offer something that other people don't offer, and you have to offer it at the right price. And that doesn't mean the lowest price. It's the right price. Like, there's some projects that people offer me that are really interesting things, but the money is so poor. I don't want to say the poor. The money is so much lower than I can do. It doesn't make business sense for me to do projects. At the same time, I know the value that I bring when I'm serving a company as their chief strategy officer, and I'm making pivotal changes in what they're doing. I want paid for that, man. And that's just fair. And I think you have to always be fair with the people you're dealing with, but I think you also have to be just as fair to yourself, because there's direct implications in your life and those people that you may be trying to take care of. You can't give it away. I have some dear friends who just continually give it away, either doing like that next to free stuff, or never being able to say, that's the end and we have to start something new, or be able to manage the working relationships they get into. And it's a challenge for me to see these people doing great work and just making a fraction they've earned. So it's a cautionary tale for our younger creatives as you're setting business processes and your standards and your billable rates.
Yeah. Those are definitely some good thoughts, and it seems like that's maybe a good place for us to wrap up this episode.
Yeah, it'll give us something to look forward to on the next one, my friend. Some more wisdom from the dark side.
I prefer wisdom from the dork side.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. Everybody's got love on this show.
Anything else that you want to bring up before we wrap up?
Yeah, you know what? One of the things I got to say is just a shout out to you, my friend. It's always interesting how how people's paths cross over the years, and I have been fortunate that mine crossed with yours. I have always enjoyed the work that we do together, and I'm proud to call you my friend. And it's always nice to see you on your creative adventures, red hair or not.
You'll have to. I'll have to come down sometime. You'll have to teach me how to surf. Never gone surfing.
Yeah, right. I think that'll be the next adventure video that we produce together.
Yeah, I'll bring down my drone. We'll get some aerial shots of you.
Yeah. Don't make promises to the masses that you're not going to come through. Yeah?
Well, we'll have to make it work. So, all right. So, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this episode of Monday Night Live Chats. I'll be back next week with the executive director of the Valley Film Festival. So all you filmmakers out there that want an inside scoop on what goes into programming or really putting together a film festival, make sure you check us out. Also, make sure to check out Kevin's channel. It's the link is in the description below. It's youtube.com/Kevin Popovic. And then from there you can check out his other things if you're interested in reaching out to him. If you're a student at SDSU, make sure to check out the Idea Lab, find out what that's all about. And also, for those of you watching that are not yet subscribers, I want to ask that you do subscribe to this channel. Hit that thumbs up button, like it, and hit that little bell button. You'll get notifications. We do this every Monday night, and then I've got vlog episodes in between. And just so you can see, he wasn't on, but Kevin was doing kind of this like little finger thing a second ago. So, all right. Thank you once again, and good night, everybody.
Good night.